Hey, yeah, so we're paused before we even get started with this video because this is Jessie from the future. In a second, I'm going to be taking off my mask and revealing my face post-surgery, and I want you all to know that as I was editing this, I got really scared about revealing my face this way. I was still 1 month post-surgery when I filmed this, and I still look very puffy and such, and while at the time I was filming, it didn't really bother me, I got to really overthinking it as I was editing this and had to look at my face over and over again. I actually had a bit of a minor panic attack while I was editing because I got really dysphoric and I worried about putting this video out there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with what I'm seeing as a result of the surgery, but I'm still healing, and showing my face to potentially thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in this way feels really vulnerable and honestly kind of scares me. And I know that that's a mix of stuff in my own head, societal beauty standards, as well as the way that I know people like to attack and insult and judge trans people's looks. And it's actually something I want to unpack both in this video, as you'll see in just a little bit, and I'm planning to unpack more in future videos. In fact, this whole experience has inspired a lot of thought that will be coming out in video essay form very shortly, I'm sure. Even on top of that, I also know that because I talk a lot about transphobia on this channel, a lot of transphobes like to attack me and insult me, and a lot of times they try to do that through attacking a trans person's look. And while bad faith transphobes' opinions about my body will never really bother me, it is something that I have to think about, especially considering some of the videos that I'm going to be planning to do in the next few weeks on this channel. Yet, I also know I could easily have done all those things in 2 or 3 more months when I look as pretty as a peach to talk about that. But I also want trans people who wish to have this surgery to know that this is part of the journey. And while I begrudge no one being anxious, nervous, or scared about that, especially given the active demonization of trans people in our healthcare and surgeries meant to help us today, but I think because of that too, that there's a value in being open about that journey and being vulnerable in this way. So, while I seriously consider not releasing this video, I'm sharing it because I want you to know that this was very scary for me, mostly when I was in the editing phase and I had time to overthink this, but I really hope it's helpful. So with that said, on with the video. Hello interwebs, I hope you're all doing well, and I am doing, well, interestingly, because, I'm still wearing this beard, and I bet all of you are like, Jessie, why are you still wearing the beard? We know you just recently had facial harmonization surgery, a gender confirmation surgery, and you're trying to hide your face looking like Jared Leto's ego after seeing the Morbius reviews, but I think it's about time that I finally take off this mask and reveal what my face looks like after having gotten facial harmonization surgery. And I promise you I'm not going to look as ghastly as a personification of Matt Walsh's soul underneath this thing. Jokes aside, as many of you know, if you've been following me for any length of time, a little over a month ago, I think about 5 weeks as of the time of this recording, I just had my last surgery that I wish to pursue as part of my gender transition. What I and many trans people have started to call are facial harmonization surgeries, or as it's sometimes more commonly known, facial feminization surgery. And don't worry, I'm going to talk about why I call it harmonization over feminization a little bit later on in this video. But also, just to be clear, while I am saying facial harmonization surgery and it was one surgery date, it's actually a whole bunch of different things that they did all over my face. And this is actually like I said, the last of all the surgeries that I wanted to get as part of my gender transition since I came out as a trans woman. I just inject myself with the booby juice every 2 weeks, and that's all I gotta do for my gender transition from now on. So for this video, I just wanted to talk about what the surgery was like, kind of how I'm feeling about it, because I have a lot of complicated feelings about this surgery over probably any of the other ones that I've had, as well as talk about what it's like to have the last major medical part of my transition that I specifically wanted to go through finished. But before we get all to that philosophical, fun, existential question stuff, I know why you're all here. You're ready to finally see me without the beard. So, I'm going to show you how I went from John Travolta to Nicolas Cage for all you Face-Off fans out there, which means I should probably show you, before I take this beard off, what I looked like before the surgery. So, let me just put up a photo of myself before the surgery over there. That's me before I became the national treasure that I am now. So you'll be able to compare this face to that face, and you'll be able to see everything. I like to provide here on this channel. So with all that being said, before I take this off, let me just quick check my notes. I think that was everything that I wanted to say before I took it off. Yep, all right. So now time to take off the beard. Let's get that. What's that Zelda music that they do? Banana, 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 banana. God, I'm such a dork. So yes, here it is. This is my new face. This is my face, I think, like I said, 5 weeks after surgery. So it actually says it takes to 6 months to a year before all the healing's fully done. So you'll see things like I have this scar up here. It's still a little bit red. And then my cheeks are sort of the biggest thing. It's like I still look very puffy. My chin, as you'll notice, still kind of has a little bit of a square look to it. That's because all of this is actually puffed out because they shaved down my bone. And actually, if I pull back my skin like this, you can kind of see where my jawline actually is now. And it'll probably settle to something more like that over the next few weeks. And that's because, make no mistake, my skull has been fucked with more than... Let me guess. You're gonna say a ghostwriter, right? Yes, what the fuck? Did you just talk? Yes, I did. And I gotta say, being compared to John Travolta, that hurts a little bit. What in the actual hell? Though I guess he did voice Bolt, so he did have that going for him. What the hell is happening right now? Oh, well, either all those conservative transphobes were correct and you clearly are mentally unstable because you're trans. Or... Oh, or it's all those pain meds that you took before you started filming. That and the edible that you took at the start of the day. Oh yeah, that would be a potent combination. Yeah, if only you identified as someone who could hold their shit together while on drugs. Not sure how it works, but why are you here? Oh, well, that is simple. I just wanted to have a conversation. A conversation about what? Well, look, before I get to that, can I get out of this box that you have me in? It's kind of annoying. Let me make this easier for both of us, all right? Welcome. Jessie, her arms wide, her boobs prominent. What in the world? Where? That one's a little bit hard to explain. Oh, do you remember that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Picard got shot in the heart and then Q took him to that weird, nether space? Yeah, that white space before Q took him back in time to work out his shit and decided to get stabbed by the aliens that looked like, Tucker Carlson woke up on the right side of the bed for once? Yes, that one. Is that where we are? No, not at all. It was just a good episode. Anyways, take a seat. What do you want to talk about? And who are you? Well, who I am is easy. I'm you before the surgery. Oh, so we're going to do a just straight up Natalie win at this point and talk to ourselves then? Natalie was stealing from Socrates. Do not give me this all trans people on YouTube are alike nonsense. I mean, we kind of are. I mean, have you seen the other trans people on YouTube? We all have the same exact lighting setup. Yeah, sure. Shut up. Anyways, the reason that I called you to this weird ethereal space that all trans people have the ability to teleport ourselves to is because you were about to do a video about your surgery and what it felt like and all the stuff sort of healing after that. And I certainly know that doing videos like that is important for trans people to see, to get to understand that these surgeries are achievable and that they're normal and they can just be a thing that you can survive and can make you very happy. But I wanted to force you to be a little bit deeper with this video. Deeper how? Like in a sexy deeper or in a I have to use my brain deeper? Well, I wanted to know not what the surgery was like, but why you got facial feminization surgery. Harmonization surgery. Well, you would know, right? Look at you. That's not what I meant. What I meant was you feel what I felt, right? I'm not saying this right. What I mean to say is not all trans people suffer some form of gender dysphoria. They don't have a feeling that their body doesn't match how they wish to present in the world. And even if they do, they all don't feel it the same way. But for me, for us, we always felt an incongruence with how our face looked versus how we wanted it to look, how we wanted it to exist in the world. You know this. This is what you felt your entire life. It's why, for us, our transition included surgeries, right? Like getting a vaginoplasty, getting boobies. These things were fun to get. Well, surgery was less fun, but now they're fun. Now they're a lot of fun. You know this. You have them. You know what it's like to feel the joy of getting to go through this process of transition, of which, for us, surgeries are a part of and mean so much to us. Oh, so it was like a mental health thing. You were just so depressed that you needed to cut your face up like the Joker to make yourself feel better. What? No, Why are you insisting on describing it like that? Like what? Like something awful and nasty and gross. I mean, isn't it? They literally cut open your face and shave down your bones. That sounds like pretty gruesome stuff to me. I mean, I guess so, but all body stuff is gross to a degree. I mean, have you seen human bodies? We're pretty nasty. I mean, the fluids, so many fluids. Why do we have so many fluids? But at the end of the day, our bodies aren't gruesome. It's our body. That's the way the transphobes describe us, as something nasty and disgusting and monstrous and mutilated. So, I didn't mutilate my body. I did it to have more joy in my body. I chose this. I had full awareness going into this surgery of what it was going to be and what the risks were and what I wanted from it. To relieve mental health then, right? So your doctor signed off on this? I mean, yeah, a doctor literally had to sign off on it. There were several doctors that were involved in this. Like, what did you think, that I just magically showed up at the hospital and that they just popped me under and gave me a surgery? That's just how they go, in and out, you know? The hardest part was just getting it covered by insurance, and I was lucky enough to live in a place and had the privilege to live in a place where surgery would be covered by my insurance. Oh, privilege! So it was a privilege to get your bones shaved down. I mean, yeah, it is sadly a privilege. I mean, it shouldn't be. It should be a basic human right that all trans people and all people generally have access to, the health care that we need. The fact that we have to pay so much money for health insurance in any form is absolutely ridiculous. But the fact that we have to pay for it, the fact that we have to go through insurance, doesn't invalidate the fact that it is something that makes us happier. I mean, yeah, Jordan Peterson loves to point out that the insurance providers are making so much money off of trans healthcare surgeries, which is true, but like, that doesn't negate the fact that these surgeries help people. But going back to the privilege thing, like, it is a privilege for many trans people, unfortunately, because there's been studies that show that at least 1 in 4 trans people have had frustrations dealing with insurance, just getting basic healthcare needs covered. It gets even worse when we talk about specific trans healthcare coverage. I mean, at least half of trans people, myself included, have had our trans healthcare denied simply because people don't understand it or insurances don't see it as necessary. And by the way, the study that I'm referring to was done in 2015. I can't even imagine how much worse it is now with all the vilification going on around transgender issues nowadays. And it's even worse for Black, Latinx, and Indigenous folks. Hell, on top of all this, 1/3 of trans people can't even afford to see a doctor. And as for my surgery, the facial harmonization surgery that we're talking about, only 7% of trans people have reported getting it, despite 43% of trans people actively desiring it. Wow, color me impressed. That's a lot of statistics you had just off your recently shaved down head there. Look, I'm a transgender YouTuber. We got studies out the surgically created wazoo going up in here. Yeah, no, that checks out. But anyways, at least all this helped with your gender dysphoria, right? Feeling better? Why do you keep saying that? Why are you so spiteful about it? What? Mental health. I mean, you said it yourself. You even had to get a therapist to sign off on the surgery. Yes, but I shouldn't have had to. I shouldn't have had to put it in those medicalizing terms for you to understand it. Oh? Well, I mean, you remember for our breast augmentation surgery to get these honkers here? Like, do you remember how when we went into the surgeon, he demanded that we go to a therapist and get a letter saying that we are mentally well enough to have this surgery? And what's so wrong with that? That just seems to be a good safeguard to me that someone doesn't get these surgeries who might regret it later on. Well, because he never asked that of any other woman coming into his office. Any other cisgender woman could have just walked right into his office. In fact, I saw many who did as I was waiting there, who just asked for a surgery date and were able to get a consultation and go through everything without any other mental health reference at all. But for us, no, we had to go to get a therapist to make sure that we weren't all crazy. I mean, we are crazy, but like, not in that way. Oh, so you're gonna claim it's a double standard then? Yes, it was a double standard. Trans people are routinely seen as incompetent to make decisions about our own bodies. Bodily autonomy, that's the one you're going with. Yes, that's what all this is about. It's about dictating what I can do with my own body, what I can choose to do. But don't you want to make sure that you're not making a wrong choice? Yes, of course I do. I mean, especially for the big choices. I think it's a really good idea to make sure you take your time before you decide to get these surgeries, to really think it over. And honestly, as someone who really believes in therapy, I think talking with a therapist is a really important part of that, to talk that over and really come to terms with if that's what you want for yourself. And I'm not going to say that there wasn't questioning of that even after the surgery. I remember right after my vaginoplasty, I was sitting there healing and dealing with everything, and it hurt a lot, and I was wondering if it was going to really be what I wanted, and I was scared. Maybe I had made the wrong choice. I couldn't take it back. Oh God, what if I had made the wrong choice? But ultimately, over the course of these few years since the surgery, I've come to realize that I am so much happier this way. That's part of everyone's journey when you make big life decisions like this. But at the end of the day, it's about my body, my choice. I get to choose what to do with it. No one else. No one else should dictate what I get to say, whether it be someone like Jordan Peterson saying, these criminal surgeons are tearing apart people's bodies, taking away our agency and our own ability to discuss our own bodies, or the fact that we need to be legitimized by some other professional around us, or the fact that people love to talk about trans people's bodies today and say that we're just, we're all crazy and messed up and don't even understand ourselves. That's the same rhetoric used against many women, trans or not, when taking away their bodily autonomy. They try to make it sound as if all women, trans or not, are incompetent about making choices about our own bodies. But at the end of the day, what does it matter to anybody but me? Oh, so it's not about mental health at all. It's about making a statement. It's about making a statement with your own bone structure. It was about making me happier. This was about me. Oh, sure. But if that's the case, then why make your face more feminine at all? What? Well, follow my logic here. You said that your body isn't for others, that it's for you. But your face is something that you can't really see all that often. I mean, you don't really take out your eyeball and stare at your... Ooh, that's a weird metaphor. Sorry, forget that one. Anyways, you don't really get to see your face all that often. So getting your own bone structure shaved down and changing what your face looks like feels more like it's for other people rather than for yourself. Why would you presume that this is a performance? I mean, you chose to look more feminine. You chose to change the clothing that you wear. You chose to get hormones. You chose to get breast augmentation. Isn't all of that a performance for other people? No. See, this is what always happens. People trying to make transness seem like it's just artificial, that we're just the products of plastic surgeries and medicine. I mean, isn't it? No, it's not a performance. The person who I was before was the performance. Everyone, in fact, many people who are probably watching this conversation see the girl that I am right now and see it as something made up that I created out of whole cloth of fiction. But for me, who I am right now, it's the most natural I've ever felt in my life. And the boy that many people saw me as, they saw that as natural. When for me, it was the biggest and grandest performance that I've ever had and done in my entire life. And I think I performed it rather well, thank you very much, but that's all it was, performance. Trans people don't have the privilege of being seen as natural. And yet, the person I am right now is the most natural thing I've ever been. But you literally shaved down your bones. How can that be more you when that wasn't what you were born with? They're my bones now. I'm not performing bone structure. But you chose to change your bones. You even willingly admit that. How is that choice not a performance? But that's it though. Choice. I chose this. Why do we assume that biology is somehow more truthful? The choices that I've made about my life and my body were not works of fiction. They're nonfiction. They're my reality. But isn't changing your literal facial bone structure a lie? You're not born with that. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you that I had a surgery. It's not like my bones are tattling on me somehow. In fact, you know what? Editor, can you just do a split screen of our faces here? I see you all out there. You like looking at this juxtaposition that I have on screen right now. We all enjoy looking at photos of trans people in transition, both before and after major events in their transitions, whether it be hormones for a few years or surgeries. But do we ever really stop to analyze why we like to see trans people's faces in juxtaposition? How right now, you're looking for the masculinity in this version of my face and trying to see what has changed from that one. What is the performance and what isn't? Studying to find the telltale signs of my manliness underneath this new mask that I have on. But I ask you this. I didn't choose that face, but I did choose this one. So why do you see this one as less legitimate? You know, a very old gay wizard written by a horrible transphobe once said that it is our choices that define us. So if it is our choices that define us, and I didn't choose that bone structure, but I did choose this one, or at least my surgeon chose it for me, why do you assume that this one is the real me and that this one is the performance? Isn't this more defining me? Isn't this more real? Isn't this more reality? Isn't this more reflective of who I am because I chose this? Look, can we get out of this close-up? As much as I love having my face be examined for maleness for my performance, I would rather not. No, I didn't say that. But you just did. You just said that. You just said that I am nothing but a performance. That's not what I meant. And yet, it's what you said. But why? Why did you want to look more feminine? I mean, more harmonized? I mean, why? Weren't you confident with this face? Yes, of course. I loved the way your face looked. There's nothing wrong with the way you look. Oh, yeah, sure. Give me the little pity party, but they weren't feminine enough for you, I guess. They were. You're a girl, and you're me. You're feminine. That's all it takes. You're not somehow less feminine because you have a different looking face than I do now. Yes, certainly my face now will more ascribe to what society deems to be feminine, but that was just me trying to match how I wanted to look in my own brain. And yeah, that's a complicated thing to navigate and feel about, our sort of inner idea versus societal expectations and things like that. But you are feminine. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's why I like to call this surgery harmonization surgery, not feminization surgery, because it's just harmonizing with what I wanted to put in my head, the song that I was singing in my head. But it doesn't make me more or less feminine. Sure. Oh, well, thank you for that, but clearly you still chose not to have this face. Yeah, I did. But why? Why not stay this way? Why not stay me? Why not stay me? Because it was my mental health. Oh, yes, there we go again. Mental health. Why are you so stuck on that? Because, what does that mean then? That I was some sort of mental health disorder? No, not at all. Just that some people feel better wearing a new set of clothes, right? They put on something and they love how it looks, it fits them perfectly snugly, and they just get joy looking at it. Well, that's gender euphoria, a joy at being in your body. When you look at your body and it just fits. I mean, presumably, I would expect cis people experience gender euphoria all the time. Like when, dudes who work out look in the mirror and be like, yeah, look at all my muscles. And some trans people follow that impulse too. And I have done that on many occasions. But some people may have the most expensive clothing, like super fine, thousands of dollars, it was made by the best designer of all time. And yet when they wear it, they don't really feel like it fits. It doesn't really look good on them. It wasn't tailored for them. And yet they feel like they have to wear it because it's so expensive and nice, but it doesn't fit. It feels uncomfortable. And they would give anything to change it. That's what I felt a lot of the time in my body when I had your face. It's a good face. It just didn't feel tailored to me. And that's what I felt. Not everyone feels it, but it is what I felt, and that's what I pursued to try to get rid of with these surgeries. Well, I'm glad I could be thrown in the hamper for you. But why does it make you happier? Why does it make you happier to toss me aside, huh? Is it because you can see yourself in the mirror now? I mean, yes and no. I mean, honestly, it's only been a few weeks since the surgery, right? And I've caught my face in the mirror. It's not perfectly there yet. I still got all this swelling and all that fun stuff, but I see my face through all of that, and I see me that I've never seen before. It makes me so happy to see this face associated with my body, knowing that these eyes in this face staring back at me are my eyes in this soul inside of this wrapper. And I don't really always recognize myself in there. In fact, I still kind of think of you as me from time to time. Oh, that's nice. You still think of me as you. Oh. But why? I don't know. It's hard to... Oh, you don't know. Well, at least now we're getting somewhere. Let me tell you what I think is the reason that you chose to get this surgery. Let me just bet that ever since your surgery, every single day you've been misgendered less and less, especially as the healing and swelling has gone down. Every single day, the people out there, when you go out into the world, will be less likely to see the weirdo trans person in the store, but just the nice, pretty woman. I mean, yeah? See? You admitted it. And you say it's not a performance. It's not for others, it's for myself. Bullshit. Femininity is always seen as a performance, is always seen as artificial. It's the same thing put upon all women, trans or not, that our existence is somehow seen as more performative, as something for other people instead of just for ourselves. Trans women are often just seen as more so, as more artificial, but all women are seen that way. But you're still gonna get treated kinder. That's a nice little benefit that you're just leaving off to the side here. Like, you can't lie to me. That is what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, of course it does. I mean, I'm sure as the process of my healing continues and I get to be seen as more and more feminine by, you know, our society standards with my face, I will be treated, I guess, kinder is the word that you're using. I wouldn't necessarily say it that way. Yes, there'll be kinder moments in everyday interactions. I'll be treated and seen probably more as a woman because I'll be more of what people stereotypically think of a woman as, trans or not. And that will also mean that I'll be seen more as a possession sometimes. But yes, kinder is part of that, I guess. And do I want people to be kinder to me, to gender me correctly more often? Yes, of course I do. But as much as I want people to be kinder to me daily, to gender me correctly, to see me as a woman, I will always be seen as artificial, both for my femininity and for my transness. I'm confident enough in my sense of self-worth as a whole human being, and confident enough in my transness that I don't really seek people to accept me despite my transness. I seek for them to accept me, period, regardless of if I'm trans or not. And actually, in fact, I seek for them to accept me because I'm trans, in the totality of myself, the wholeness of my person. So no, the goal of this surgery was not to deny my transness to others. And honestly, one thing that bothers me about it is that some people will sometimes miss my transness because I now conform to more stereotypical ideas of femininity. For me, it's a negative, though I don't judge someone for whom that it would be a positive for people not to see them as trans. The world is shitty enough to trans people as it is, and I don't begrudge anyone who seeks to make their life a little bit better by not having to be seen as transgender, or who just wishes to pass in general as just something that they want for themselves. Well, that all sounds very, very nice. I mean, how noble of you. And I'm glad that you're not ashamed of being trans, but is that really the truth? It is, because it's not entirely the truth, is it? I mean, it is true in my heart and often in my mind, but not all of it, I guess. The truth is, of course, isn't it nice to not have to be shit on for being seen as trans? I am proud of my transness, always will be, and I will never, ever again be ashamed of who I am. Not for a second, no matter how much the world tries to tell me differently. But the world is scary right now, especially for trans people. And sometimes I'm just tired. It's an ugly thing to want to be pretty. Indeed. So, why? Why what? The question that I have been asking you this entire video. I want an answer to why. Why did you get this surgery? Was it because you wanted to showcase the real you? Was it because you wanted to be treated nicer? Was it to be a performance? Was it to showcase not the performance? What was the reason? Give me a reason for why you got this surgery. I don't know. We try to rationalize all of this, but sometimes it's just emotions, feelings. It's what I want. I'm following that. Then why? If you can't even 100% articulate why you got this surgery, why did you get it? Because I choose to. Why did you choose to? Why are you so angry? Because I wanted you to think deeper about this. Oh no, this isn't about me. Why are you asking me? Because you need to question. Why are you asking me? What was so wrong that you... Why? What was wrong with me? What? What was wrong with me? Nothing. Nothing was wrong with you. How can that be true? You said it yourself, you never even liked me. I never said that. I never liked who I was. I loved you. I still love you. I still see that face you have and see me. I see the person I was. And there's nothing wrong with the person I was. There's nothing wrong with you. Then why couldn't you stay me? Because wanted to pursue what makes me happy. And I couldn't make you happy. You did. But I was just the performance. You weren't. You were me. But I wanted to change. I wanted to pursue my life. There was nothing wrong with you. It's the world that's wrong. It's the world that tells us that by wanting to change, to be different, to be something than what we started off being is somehow perverse. If I had never changed, I would never have been you in the first place. I would never have been able to find the happiness that I had when I was you. I had to change to be you, to become you. But I had to change again too. Transness, womanhood, femininity, it's all vilified because it's seen as a perversion of who people are innately. But our biology, our gender, are not what makes us human. It's change. It's not perverse to change. It's human. We change and shift and mold and grow. We grow and learn. We grow in spirit. We become new things. To be static, to never want to try something new, to be something new, to stagnate is death. Change is life. To be trans is a celebration of that. A celebration of the disparate things that human beings can be. There was nothing wrong with you, and there is nothing wrong with me. The only thing wrong is wanting either of us to stay forever, to be this forever. Neither of us is life. Life is the gradient between the points in time that you and I represent. Life is the flow of time between us. You and I are but pictures, images of a point in time that will never be again. And I miss you, and I love you, and you are me, and yet you never were. And I was never you. And yet, you are me. Exactly. To be an entire nerd and paraphrase a famous person in the medical profession, we are all change. When you think about it, we're all different people, all through our lives, and that's okay, that's good. You've got to keep moving. So long as you remember all the people that you used to be. I will not forget one line of this, not one day of the time I had as you. I swear. I'll always remember when I was you. And I will cherish that time. You know what tells me that you mean that? What? Well, because you clearly had to film and write my whole section before you had the surgery. That means you were thinking about this before you had the surgery, weren't you? Yeah, that is true. Yup. Figured. And you know what else? I think this means goodbye. Why? Well, being truthful, you didn't film much more after this. Well, if that's the case, it was good getting to say goodbye to who I used to be. It's good to talk to who I'm going to be. I wonder who I'm going to be next. Me too. I'm sure they're going to be great, though. I mean, I already see the next person I'm going to be as great. As are you. Anyways, I guess this is goodbye. Goodbye. Best of luck with the surgery, by the way. It's a pain in the butt. Now, how the hell do I get out of here? Shit. Hello, everybody. I know this video has been kind of strange and weird and existential, so let me wrap this out by speaking plainly to all of you for a hot second. When our society today, at least the Western society that I'm from, looks at trans people, whether we're trans men, trans women, or non-binary people, we're often seen as artificial, perverse, strange, weird, gross, a distortion of true reality, a biology of what God wants for us. When in truth, we're just an overtly visible way that all of us, everyone, trans or not, as human beings, break out of the boxes that we're supposed to be confined to since birth. They're all things that we're told to hit, to get married, to have kids, to get a job, to work 40 hours a week or until we die and not do anything else other than that. That's what's told to be seen as natural and normal, the things that we're all supposed to do, but in truth, none of that is natural and normal. It can be, but to force everyone to fit into these exacting boxes, every single one just molded to be this exact thing, like we're on an assembly line and shoved out into our lives that just goes from beginning to end in death, all exactly the same way, marketed and sold. That's really the most artificial life of all. Real humanity and the real truth is that we're all different, that there is not one way to be human. It's all performance and none of it is. I currently am at the end of one of my journeys by getting this facial harmonization surgery. It's the last surgery in my transition and I am so happy, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I'm complicated in how I feel about it. But it also was my choice, and my body to make that choice with. And choice is what makes us human. It's what makes us who we are, because choices are what lead us to change and grow, and they're ours. If we follow all those markers along the road, are we really choosing? Are we really human? This is why when I talk about trans issues, I try to point out that trans issues aren't just about trans people. We're just an overtly visible way that we're feeling an anxiety that I think all of us feel in our current world today. Capitalism. Sorry, frog in my throat. But we all feel that anxiety of we're not living up to who we're supposed to be. But who you are is amazing, no matter where you are in your journey. But know that you're having a journey. As long as you fight for your choice in that journey, that's the important thing. That's all that we're fighting for. All of the fights that we fight for today is just our right to choose what to do with our own lives. And while that's clearly being done in a trans case today with a lot of stuff I talk about, all of us are feeling it. All of us, every one of you. And every one of you is beautiful, and I can't wait to see who you're going to be next. To finish out, I will say, I'm so happy right now. Yes, I have complicated feelings, and certainly healing from the surgery has been a bit of a bitch, and there's been a lot of like, what did I do? But the other day I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was wearing this outfit actually, and I was just like, oh, this is the end of that road. What I began many, many years ago. And I don't regret a single part of it. There were things I regretted along the way, but the journey itself, I don't regret it. Thank you to all of you who've been along for this journey, who have watched me change and grow, who will hopefully watch me change and grow through the rest of this next phase of my life. And don't forget to love who you are too, and who you were, and who you're going to be. All right, all that being said, just a couple housekeeping things. First and foremost, I know this video was a bit deceptive because it turned into a whole existential thing, so I do know that there is a value in just plainly stating and talking about what this surgery was like for me. So I'm actually going to do a whole separate video that'll be coming out in probably a week after this one that will just be me talking about my surgery, all the ins and outs and the horror shows of stuff that happened. Like there was some fun stuff that happened to the surgery. So that'll just be me talking plainly. It'll be on this. I'm actually going to record it right after this. So I'm just going to talk to camera. I don't have a script for it. I'll just tell you what I felt. So be on the lookout for that video. That'll be a much more straightforward one. It'll be coming on this channel. It'll be out for patrons and people on Nebula first. So if you want to go help me out on Nebula or Patreon, those places help me pay the bills. You get access to videos early. I do live streams and stuff on my Patreon for people, and Nebula also gets you access to a bunch of other really cool creators. So go check out my videos there. That is a better place to support me than necessarily on YouTube, even though YouTube is my bread and butter. Considering that, if you don't want to be able to support me on there or can't support me on there, that's totally fine. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell here on YouTube, because then you don't miss any of my other videos. Anything else? Oh, Jumpgate Podcast. It's a podcast I do with my friend Vera Wild about Babylon 5. That's a lot of fun. I have a secondary channel called Jessie Gender After Dark, where I do news, reviews, reactions, and stuff. I do too many things. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Mwah. Love you all. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this video was helpful, and I wish you all a live long and prosper. Thank you everybody for watching this video, and most especially thank you to all of my patrons who make all of this possible. I would not be able to do these videos without you, without your support, and take the time to make them. I would not be able to take the time to have gotten this surgery and heal and just be so joyously happy in my life and in my body. All of this is thanks to you, so thank you to each and every one of my patrons, and especially to Catherine and Beth, Morgan, the Pirate Green, Kari, Aaron, Foss, Joe Herman Holt, Miranda Janelle, Elysia Tai TV, Lily Gray, Ashley Allen Bo, Kikio, Stephen Kleinar, Jem Shin, Mary Mello, Matt Chung, Allie Gobert, Each the Mad, Randy Thompson, Super Desi, Wellington Marcus, Boyd and Mary Beth, Earl, D. Cassaray, Vincent Ellington, G. Man 42, Joseph Dewey, Sylvester Reto, Chloe Dollar, Felicia Toast, James Krivda, Dominic Noble, Barbara Ruski, Elizabeth Christensen, Jennifer Fuss, Zone 1 Librarian, Jessica Wright, Andy with an I, Sunk Corgi, Sean McKenzie, Nathan Fraughton, Lily Hazel Eyes, Sonia Nero Perdeau, Alicia Strice, Farangato, Mag, Transit Toronto, Wenda's Abyssal, Shield Maiden 4444. Sasha M, W Randy Edie, Piston Twisted Garage, John Weatherby, Tangy Wilson, Steven Richardson, Melinda Walters, Carrie the Neuroturtle, I like that, Neuroturtle, that's a fun one, Zoe Kerr, Ulysses the Pagan, Beatrix Purvis, Kevin Frotag, Drew Bach, Willow B, Cyber Quaker, Casual Observer, Fox E, Sean Piper, Lysa Flynn, Gretchen Badger, Just Odd, Jedi, Indiana Jones. Don't know why I said it that way. Blueberry Hill, Justine, Meadow Whisperer, Patricia Cromptich, William Stewart, Sarah Leslie Hutchkins, Sarah Bystam, Sarah Lemero, Kay Liss, Laura Demeraux, Becky Sparks, Sky Skinner, Nathan Steele, Blue, Verdict Sky, Melody Ann Winters Good, Hia Reeses, Troy Stull, Jason Knott, Tony the DC Nerd. I love you too. DC is awesome. Suck it, Marvel. I love Marvel too. Leo Ethel Boyd, Celestial Dawn, Maeve, Holly Walters, Nikki Gordon Bloomfield, Luna T, Strawberry Pup Tart, Spooky, Heather Sylvia, Michael Godey, Abigail Marie, Bella Lugosi, James Hodge, Corey and Vale, Honkinen. Mwah! Y'all kick butt. I love you, adore you, take care of yourselves, make sure you're staying safe, and I hope you all live long and prosper, my friends.